Hey there, this is a quick guide to doing joins in QGIS. We're going to work with some NHGIS census data today and figure out how to load it into QGIS and do a join. So we're going to walk through that. Now, one of the things I want to point out to you is when you get the data from QGIS, it'll look like these zip files. This is on Windows. So you're going to want to grab the folders that are inside of this and drag it into your working folder. So you would drag this right over here for your working folder. You can see I've already done that. Similarly, you do that with a shapefile, and you'll end up actually with another zipped folder there that has the shapefile inside of it. So once we have that, there's multiple ways to add these data. You go under Layer, Add Vector Layer. If we're going to start with the shapefile, so let's go ahead and do that. And we get a window that looks something like this. And then I'm going to select that zipped folder right here that has the shapefile inside of it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Open, Add, and you can see the data gets added right into QGIS, which is great. If you want to change the projection, you'd mess with it down here. But if we open the attribute table, we'll see there's very little in here right now. There's the name of the county. There's some identifying information codes, some stuff about whether it's urban, rural, the land area, water area, but nothing that's really useful for the question we're trying to answer, which is about census demographics. So let's go ahead and add our table data. And since this is a CSV file, we're going to use add delimited text layer for that. We're using a comma separated values file, and you'll see that listed here. So we click on these three dots right here, and I go to where I have it saved, which is right in this folder, and I will go ahead and open. You'll see it listed here. Now sometimes it's going to look to see if there's point coordinates in there. If you have point data and have an X and Y field, you can note that here. In this case, there's no locational data. There's no X, Y coordinates. And so we say no geometry. This is an attribute only table. And click Add. And you'll see it gets added right over here as well. Now these two don't automatically link. So what you're going to have to do is to do a join. You're going to connect them via a variable they have in common that's unique to each polygon, each county. In this case, we're going to use, if we open the attribute table here, we're going to use this GIS join field, which is the last field, in essence, in the county shapefile. It's this field right here. That has a unique value for each of the rows in here. So we can use it to connect these two data. If we look in the attribute table for the table here, you'll see that it's the first column here is GIS join. And so we can make a connection based on that shared variable. So you always start with what you're joining to. In this case, we're joining to a vector shapefile. And so we don't want to join to the tabular data. We want to join to the map. So we click on Properties, right-click and choose Properties, and then scroll down here to where it says Joins. We're going to add a join, so click on this little plus button, and it's going to automatically detect there's a table here. That's the layer we want to use. If we had multiple layers, we'd have to select which one we want. And then for join field, we want to choose GIS join, and then target field is the field in this case, in our shapefile layer that we want to join to. It's also called GIS join, but it doesn't have to be. It can be whatever field matches up, and they might have different names. The one other thing that QGIS does that's a little annoying is it wants to say, hey, we're going to add this helpful little prefix on the front of the joined field so that you'll know that that's a joined field. This is really long and, in my opinion, not all that helpful. So we're going to go ahead and delete that. So click on Custom Field Name Prefix and delete that. If you wanted to, you could choose which fields are joined. You don't have to pull all of them in, but for now, we'll just go ahead and use all of them. So I'm going to click OK and click on Apply. Does the join. You could also just click OK there. And now when I open this attribute table, what you'll notice is when I scroll over, now I have all these data that were in that tabular data, and it's linked right here. And in fact, if I wanted to just map raw rates, I could do that. I just click on Properties here, or raw counts, I mean. I could say, let's do a graduated fill based on, I'm just going to pick total population variable right here. I could classify based on that natural break scheme, something like that, and click Apply. And there we go. We can actually make a map based on those values. Now that's not a very helpful or pretty map, but we could do it. We'll do more in the future, but this gives you an idea of how to do those joins.